this idea of community really stands out for me, you know, because it's at the forefront of what we're doing here in Belleville for Downtown DocFest. You know, it's a small community, and you can't make it happen unless you get the support. And for people who don't know about our festival, you know, we're brand new. We're only going into our third year, March of 2014. We started with 2 days in the first year. We went to 3 days in the second year, and we're probably going to 4 days in the third year. And I think when we had originally started with the idea, a lot of people in this community, because it's small, because we're outside of Toronto, thought it's not going to work. But, you know, everybody's really embraced it, and it's taken off. And it's so much in line with what you're talking about. And that idea of community approach, different approach for documentary, I think people are really looking to sink their teeth into that. And I like the fact that we provide a venue for that in this region. You know, last year, we had 7 local filmmakers who put 9 local films in. I mean, this is the Bay of Quinte region. You know, who knew that there were that many filmmakers making documentary film? How important are the smaller festivals? You know, obviously Hot Docs is there, Toronto's there, but how important are these smaller festivals throughout Canada in order to grow everything?
Oh, I can't say enough about how important the small to medium-sized festivals are. Communities that wouldn't otherwise see films, it's bringing films to these regions, and it's also growing the community, you know, the documentary culture. And it is allowing local filmmakers to be part of something that then sort of showcases the genre, their work, meeting other filmmakers, bringing other filmmakers in. And I think that, you know, they're the gems of this genre, of this industry. And at the moment, I think, and I can't help thinking that if all of these small to medium-sized organizations were connecting, collaborating, shared learning, developing best practices so that each organization isn't reinventing the wheel, I think that we would really build something that we can't even imagine now. At least that's my hope.
On that notion of connection, you mentioned, like we talked about, Documentary Organization of Canada. I know you were just in Toronto. I had the pleasure of interviewing Lisa Fitzgibbons at this year's Hot Docs. We talked about a lot of great things. Like you mentioned, there's so much going on. There are new reports being published. What was the discussion with Documentary Organization of Canada recently?
Well, the Documentary Organization of Canada is doing a lot of work on advocacy, trying to keep up with the ever-evolving changes in the industry. And, you know, one of the things that's been on their agenda for a few years is, you know, how to support the evolving model that has not yet really been developed. And, you know, that's a hard thing. It's sort of like herding cats because it's just so nebulous. I sat on the Documentary Organization of Canada's National Board of Directors for 3.5 years, right up until taking this journey, which I felt I needed to just focus on this. So, so the idea of being able to crystallize or, you know, somehow attract attention to online screening, streaming essentially, is of great interest. And the idea of developing a distribution model that essentially is based on the local, that has the ability to upscale it through the virtual. So, you know, really trying to figure out how to take advantage of the online screen and how to monetize that. And not only that, more importantly, how to draw people to streaming. Because it's sort of, you know, a needle in a haystack online. And so the idea that it could be connected with live events, live local events, could be a draw. I mean, it's really, you know, just a foothold into starting to explore the new model.
I've loved following your online story, you know, since you started the journey. For anyone who's not following Get on the Doc Bus on Twitter, get on there. Because it's so neat, you know, you get to see where you're stopping, who you're speaking with, the whole journey. And that tells a story in itself. And you're right, I mean, the whole online component, there's just so much there to enhance stories, tell further stories. How important has the online component just been for you, even Twitter alone?
Oh, Amazing. Like really, my journey is supported by my iPhone. It really is. I mean, GPS like is helping me find places so that
I was impressed you made it here.
Well, follow the little blue ball, and it means that I'm not pulling over by the side of the road and, checking a map 17 times, and taking photos via Instagram and then immediately pushing that out to Facebook and Twitter has been a really simple way for me to post daily and to make it visual and, hopefully a little bit dynamic. So it's really huge. And then, of course, being able to email people and phone them to set up the meetings. So it's really, I feel like this trip would be much more lonely and sort of disconnected. It would be a sort of I'd be telling it in the past, without the online piece, because now I'm able to tell it in the future. And even yesterday I was feeling a little under the weather, and so I took a picture of oil of oregano and vitamin C, and it was sort of like feeling a little under the weather, and got so much support online for that, and sort of felt a little bit sort of boosted, and sort of like everybody was just sort of rallying me on and saying, come on, you're doing great, and this will pass, and take care of yourself. And so that, it feels, it's like really amazing. Like I don't feel like I'm alone because there's so many people following.
Yeah, there really are so many people behind you. And that's part of it too, is watching how others react to what you're doing, how others comment.